Okay, hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Through Your Lens Facebook Live. All right, so this Through Your Lens Facebook Live is actually a series of Facebook Live brought to you by Design Thinkers Academy. This will actually lead up to our Design Thinking Conference Asia Singapore 2022. All right, so to all our friends out there, if you're on Facebook, come join us right now because as I have here with me, Daryl and Wayne, all right, the two men on the two corners. All right, they are the founder and co-founder of Design Thinkers Academy.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hi everyone.
Today you're very formal.
I always dress like that.
Yeah, that's your persona.
Thank you.
And then how about Wayne?
Casual today.
Is that also your persona?
My birthday's coming soon.
Oh,
Gonna
and
celebrate.
I remember your persona is Jack of all trades.
Yes, I am.
Yes. And my name is Annie, and I'm also one of the team for bringing to you this particular series of Facebook Live. And as you can see, this quiet lady here, she's like so demure. I feel so like loud next to her. All right, so this is Felicia. Felicia is the author, speaker, and a fulfillment coach. And we're very thankful that she took out time, away from her busy schedule to join us on this couch to share with us through her lens her own unique parenting journey. So hi, good afternoon, Felicia.
Welcome.
Hi, Felicia.
Hi, afternoon, Daryl, Wayne, and Annie. Thanks for having me here today. Yeah, I'm Felicia again. Yes, the author, speaker, and fulfillment coach. Yep. Yes.
What are you looking at?
No, I'm
Checking
trying to
who's logging
checking
in,
lah, must say
all our
hi to
guests.
all our audience. Those who are online, you must say hello to them, So if you're watching us, please help us to like and share. All right, so more of us can learn about Felicia's journey and how can we be better parents, right? I mean, I'm not a parent, so I do my part as auntie.
Auntie.
I know that
Auntie.
thank you. Actually, there's one thing I told my sister, right? So maybe y'all as parent, y'all will want to correct me. I told my sister, children is the best toy.
Toy?
Yeah, you know why?
So wrongly.
Yeah.
So, but do you know why or not? Because this the only toy you can play with, spoil already, return to the parents.
Oh.
So my sister was
joke.
like, my sister was like, seriously, can you please don't teach my children the wrong thing?
Oh my goodness.
Wrong, right?
Yes.
So please, audience, that's a wrong concept, right? It's just my own concept, right? I love my niece and nephew to bits, so yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Annie, for introducing us like that. Well, welcome, Felicia. Well, actually, first time I heard about you, I was actually quite excited, and I wanted to hear a bit more about your story, and we thought it was something that was very meaningful. I don't know. Tell us a bit more about what made you become a fulfillment coach today.
Well, I think I definitely come a full circle. In the beginning, it's just what we normally go through. We get married, ideally to have children, and thereafter, so-called live life happily thereafter. But obviously, it didn't go as planned. So, of course, getting married for like a few years down the road, we realized we didn't conceive naturally, and that's where we went on IVF route, and of course, ended up in miscarriage. And that was how it first happened. And then we went on IVF again, and when again I miscarried, this time a twins. And then that's where it caught you thinking, what are you going to do next? Because you conceive, but you didn't so-called deliver a healthy baby. And 2 years later, I conceived, this time naturally, and now I have my 6-year-old boy. Yeah, his name is Titus Low. So he's what we call a rainbow baby. That means it's a baby that you conceive after your loss, but that does not mean you will forget the loss, but it also makes you remember as well. So
Right.
that's the idea, the whole summary in short.
Let's bring us back in time. Tell us the first time when that particular IVF was successful. How did that feel like, and what was going on at home, and you and your husband and everything?
Yeah, of course, it was the first IVF cycle and we conceived, so obviously we were very happy. So we were thinking of, the times ahead, what do we want to plan or buy for. So frankly, we did buy a baby cot. We did buy certain of the baby items as well. But of course, that's after the first trimester. Then that's where I ended up in miscarriage at 23 weeks. So actually the water bag burst, and I didn't realize. I even went to shower before I rushed to A&E. So that
Right.
was when I realized, okay, it's the bad news. And 2 days later, he was forced to deliver. And actually, yeah, he really died on my lap in that sense. So he was born alive, but because being too premature, he couldn't survive. Yep.
Wow. What was going through your mind during that when having to give birth to
Yeah.
the first
So
child?
so it was a very sudden change and obviously unexpected. So you were obviously my thoughts back then was like, what could have done better? Is there any sign I overlooked? Did I do something wrong? So I couldn't sleep obviously. I was on the hospital bed googling, searching for answers, whatever motherhood forum portals, you name it, I search on. So the question is, what went wrong? So having said so, it's not a straightforward answer that you can find, and that's where then what should I do next? So of course I went back to my gynae. My gynae obviously told me, it could be infection, it could be, something happened for a reason, but you don't know what's the reason.
Right.
So in a way we are back to square one, but he did mention something about what we call a medical condition called cervic incompetence. That's where I went on that route to search on and to Google on it. But having said so, it's not a confirmed answer also. It's just a maybe, but irregardless, we just went on to see how can we, so-called tackle the problem. Singaporeans, we are very used to, got problem, we find a solution to it, that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's how it happens. And not to mention, of course, all the hope, the anticipation that, that's not something you want it to happen. You all think that going through a pregnancy means equal you have a healthy baby thereafter. So
Yeah.
that was one of the things that you didn't expect. So then of course you are wondering what went wrong, how could it be prevented, and is there any sign, telltale sign, what have I done leading up to that day, that incident, stuff like that. So your mind is like a video, keep on rewinding to that same day to see if there's something that you missed or overlooked. Yeah, so it's like a bit tricky lah. It's like it's a broken rewinder, you can't stop it.
And it all happened so suddenly. Were there
Yes,
any
that's right.
options given, in the sense that when you first visited the hospital, and then they told you of the news that the water bag had broken, and what was
So the
shared
only
with you?
options given to us back then was actually because at 24 weeks there's about 50% chance of survival. So at 23 weeks it's almost 0%. So the only difference what they were asking us is how long do you want to resuscitate the baby rather. So that was the so-called options, and obviously that's not the option we are looking for. But having said so, when given a chance, obviously we told them we want to resuscitate lah. But as to how long do you want to resuscitate is the question. And that's where, being parents or going to be parents, that's not a question you want to answer at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously they also knew that, so they say, okay, we leave it to you, you can have a discussion with your husband, and and obviously I also leave the answering to my husband. I was like, okay, I'm not in a good state, you figure out, okay, I just follow your cue, that kind of thing. Yeah,
Right.
so I just leave the decision making to him lah. In a way, I take the easier way out.
No, but Felicia, you were saying just now that you said your kid actually died in your lap.
Yup.
All right, okay, I'm not a mother, so I've never given birth, right? So, but I mean, my understanding of miscarriage is like miscarriage. But when I just heard what you say, it's like, so you actually gave birth.
Yep. Yes, so he was actually born alive, but obviously his lungs is not mature enough to breathe properly. Yep, so in a way it's like, he's grasping for air lah in a minute or so. So that was the thing. So we obviously placed him at my lap and then we watched him pass on lah. And in between we took photographs, and actually my family, as in my younger sis and my parents, are with me, so we managed to take photograph as well. Yeah, so that was really the impromptu thing because you can't plan for it. Yep, so the gynae went out and told my parents and said she had delivered, you want to come in? So they came in, and yeah, that's how we managed to take some photograph. Yeah.
What kind of support did you get after that, from family, from your husband, from
yeah,
the
so
hospital?
a few days later I discharged, and not to mention the baby cot was actually in the room. So you can imagine I walk in and suddenly my
Yeah.
mom, my parents, the baby cot. So they went in, shut the door, and then tried to dismantle the baby cot and whatever not. So I knew what is going on. So I just leave it as it is and let them settle whatever needed. So I just sat on my own bedroom bed lah, and then just don't know what to do because you don't know what to receive on as well, and it's like a confinement without a baby. So you are still doing confinement, but without a baby, you don't know what to expect as well.
Right.
And of course, what's the day leading up to? So that was the question mark as well. How to go on in that sense.
Right.
Wanted to ask, how did everyone around you react and kind of interacted with you during this time?
I was very thankful. So I have the family support, friends support. Obviously, they were all wanting to come and meet me. Or my parents or my in-laws was like very anxious with me, and they were like, hey, you don't do, you sit down, you rest. So you are like, those video you always see the person sitting still and then the background with all these people that kind of impression. So you are like just sitting still and everybody is just moving around you. Then you are like, you also don't know what to do also. You also don't know what to say because they just want you to rest. So, and you are also not in the mood to do anything. So you just let them do whatever they want. Then you just sit down, and then if they say, oh, you can eat, then you eat, or you can rest, okay, you rest. The kind of thing, your brain is not functioning lah.
Right.
So you are just taking instruction. They say rest or rest, you sleep or sleep, that kind of thing.
So what kind of emotions were you having during that time?
So it's a very mixed kind of emotion. So on some days you are just plain sitting still and not thinking, like dumb, that kind of thing, just staring at space. So on some days is where I do work. So I'll be doing work in the day, trying to keep myself occupied, checking emails, stuff like that. But of course there are days whereby it triggers, because back then you thought you are going to be first time mom. So I called a few brands of the milk formula to be delivered.
Samples.
Yes. That's where they start calling you. Hi Felicia, your baby should have delivered by now.
Oh
then
my.
you're like,
Oh no.
then how is it? Welcome, blah blah. That kind of thing. I was like, I just miscarried. Then the next thing you hear, I'm so sorry to hear about it. Okay, you take care. Pum.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Then you are like, tears just. Then you're like, why did I go and request the sample? Like, you feel like killing yourself over again because you need the answer, you need to explain, and then how to deal with it. So that was the question as well, but also very unexpected because you don't know when are they going to call, or will they even call as well.
True.
So you don't know, you won't think of to call and tell them also.
Something for them to take note. The
Yeah.
journey of a
Yeah.
parent and
Yes.
what to expect.
And
how
of
to
course
react.
there are hospitals who call just
Yeah.
to see how are you coping with, are you okay or not, which I'm thankful of also. But of course there are times whereby you are not in the mood to say anything. So Singaporean are you okay? Okay. Are you feeling well? Well. That's the one word kind of answer. Is there any
One
thing you
word.
want to say? No.
Daryl's famous
One
request.
word.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, if you need us, you just call us as this number. I was like, okay, that's it.
Another one word.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's like they also don't know how to reach to you, and you're probably not in the mood to talk to someone as well, and also because you really don't know who is the person on the other hand as well. So that was the thing. Then of course moving forward, then you see, how should I find help? Who can I reach out to? Then that's where you start searching around again on forums and portals to see, did anyone have similar scenarios to really ask them what happened, how could it be prevented, all this and that.
It's good that you initiated on your own to look for help,
Yep.
isn't it? Right? And the internet, of course, makes it easier to look for similar, stories so that you can connect with them. So,
So I wanted to just move a bit forward a bit, and
Should repeat it
what
all
made
over
you
again.
what made you want to do it again?
No, the marriage, the IVF,
Yes, the second, of course, the IVF. Yes, of course. No one plans for that.
So on the other hand, you miscarried, but our mindset, our mentality was you wanted to fall back in quickly. So it's like failed project. So you want to redo the project quickly.
not everyone thinks that way.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
anyway,
So that was the thing. And also because gynae was telling you you are medically fertile. So called there's a window, fertile window. So you thought, okay, then why not ride on the ride on it. But obviously what I didn't realize was that emotionally and mentally you're not ready.
Oh,
Yep.
Not to
okay.
mention also maybe physically as well.
Mhm.
But back then you didn't take all this into consideration, and there's no one to ask also lah. Who can you ask? So it's quite a taboo topic also mah still. So nobody really tell you how should you move on or continue from there. But you seek professional advice lah. And professional advice is your gynae lor. Yeah. So that's where you think that okay, since they say it's the fertile window, let's go for it and try again.
How
So
soon?
How soon?
I think 2-3 months. So I went
Wow.
for a second cycle, I didn't conceive, and then the third cycle I conceived again. So that was like I think probably 6 months later. Then I conceived again, and this time twins. Yep. So yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what was your husband's role? Because we have a Jasmine. It's my wife actually. Well, I too experienced miscarriage, and honestly, I don't have the courage to try my best the next chance. I feel that even husbands cannot empathize. I'm just thinking, what is your husband's role during that second try?
He was very supportive actually. So he was saying I didn't know that you wanted to try on quite quickly, but since if that is what you want, I think that's something we could look forward to, or move on in that direction. So he's okay to that actually. So that's how I decided, okay, maybe but in between I did went for TCM, just to nourish my health, stuff like that. So then before I said, okay, let's go for it the second time. So he was on the passive but not say inactive lah. So he's just waiting for my cue. So he's thinking that okay, if you're ready to move on, we go with it. If you think you're not ready, okay, then we hang on to it for a while. So he in that sense supportive but not pushy lah as well. So I'm thankful for that as well. Yeah.
What were some of these, I would say, assurances that you sought during this? I mean, because it's a third cycle, right? That you successfully got pregnant in that sense. What were some of these ways that you were assuring yourself that let's make it right this time around?
So before we went to that third cycle, the second cycle, it was a fake one. So actually my husband was with me, so we were waiting for the phone call lah. So if we know by now if it is the nurse who call, it's a successful one. If it's the gynae who call, fail liao lah.
Really?
Yeah. So when you hear it's the guy's voice, gone already. So at that second cycle when it failed, my husband was with me. So obviously you feel down, you're crying, blah blah. Then he dragged me out lah. He dragged me out, go shopping. Ladies mah, go shopping. Then I was like, that's the last thing you feel like doing. Like no mood to shop. Then he said, never mind, just go. Then I was like half in tears, and then he said, let's go Orchard. I was like, go in like tearful face. But then like when you're Orchard, you must look good already. Suddenly, then you're like, okay, wipe your tears, and then you shop. Despite you're not really looking, but it got you distracted lah. Yeah, then that's where we went into the third cycle, and of course we conceived, and of course again hopes lah. We have hope. We feel that okay, this is right and stuff like that. And then my husband was like, wow, double, how to raise 2 kids. If next time I want to buy 2 cars, go study overseas also, double, everything is double, how to afford all this. So that was his thought lah, being the
Yes.
guy lah, financially, how to be sound, and how to provide. And then I was like thinking, the same clothing, ladies, the same clothing, the same dress, the same shirt and everything was not. So that was the thing. So for ladies and guys, obviously we do think differently lah. But having said so, we all thought that this is it. This was the next one that will happen and it will be made right lah. But of course when it went into miscarriage again, then we were like, what's wrong this time, Even when we were at the hospital again, the gynae was saying trying to save one lah. Yep. So again, of course, the one of the twins' head protruded out. So yeah, we were saying to say try to save one, the other one which is at the back. But again, we couldn't hold back the delivery, so the second one just gush out. And same thing, both were actually born alive, but at 23 weeks, it's a goner lah.
It's also 23 weeks.
No, 21 week this
21 week.
time. So it was even too early. Yep.
Wow. And then, were your family there this time around as well?
Yes. But it also happened too quickly lah. So that's why the issue was there. I think my younger sis was there, but not my parents, because I think it was at the night. So we didn't want to call them and then rushed in. So yeah, we only told them thereafter lah. Yeah, so my younger sis was there, and to add on also, so because after each miscarriage, my younger sis actually delivered hers.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had 3 pregnancies, she had 3 children.
Mm.
Yeah, quite closely lah, months apart. So in a way also, it's very stressful for her because she's pregnant, she has to rush down, that kind of thing at that point. Yeah.
How did she, I mean, I'm sure how did she cope with having a sister that's going through so much experiences like that, and herself in that sense also wanting to celebrate her own birth of her children? How did she cope?
So obviously it was very challenging. So for her, she wanted to be happy for her delivery, but on the other hand, she know that you are still coping with grief. So that was the the happy or not happy kind of thing. Even for my mom, she was like, I don't know how to be happy for you. I'm sad for the other sis, that kind of thing. So we were like, to do not to do kind. So that was the thing. But of course, that was the initial lah, because she neither she has a smooth delivery. She had to last minute C-sec also because she was in delivering suite for too long and stuff like that. So she didn't have a so-called easy way out as well. So that's where, obviously being my younger sis, my heart was with her lah. So I was like, wow, in pain, cannot carry the baby, want to stand up also got problem, sit down also got problem. Then that's where obviously I reach out lah. So I just reach out and help her do whatever that we can lah. So me and my mom, we were there like almost don't know how many times a week, helping her with the child, helping her herself. She was like, stand out also got problem, want to tear already, stand out also want to tear already, because C-sec in pain. Yeah, so that was the thing. So you put that behind you lah. Then of course, then there are times where you go back home, then you start tearing, you start crying, then you're like, yeah. But you're thankful that it didn't happen to her. Yeah. But you're asking yourself is, when will it happen to you lah? As in, when will you have your baby in time to come? So that was always the dilemma back then.
So what was that courage? I mean, when you naturally conceived 2 years later, right? What was going through your mind? I mean, the emotion that you're having, when you realized that you were pregnant the 3rd time round, and naturally.
So obviously for that 1-2 years while we were waiting, of course you're always in a way lah, tracking your menstrual cycle or whatever not. So there was this month that obviously it missed, and you already suspected it. Then my husband is a bit traditional, cannot dye hair kind. Then I'm the type who like to dye hair. So so a few days before, I go and cut hair, dye hair. Then we both walk into the Guardian or whatever pharmacy, buy pregnancy test kit. Then I also purposely wait until Saturday when he's home to do the test. I remember he was still sleeping when I go and test. If negative news, don't say lah. So he test positive news. Okay, then he come out, you see, look at this. Then he was like, oh. Then the next moment he said, okay, go and make a phone call to visit the gynae. So I was like, huh? That's what you say? So I was like, okay lah, never mind. Okay, logical ma, guy very logical. Okay, call gynae. I said, okay, call gynae. So yeah, I made appointments with gynae, and it wasn't cheap, so to speak. We had to visit 3 doctors.
Wow, why is
So our
that?
bill is, I need to visit high-risk gynae. I realized I have gestational diabetic right in the beginning, so I need to see andrologist, dietitian. So our just monthly bill was like $1,000 from these 3 gynae doctors alone.
Right.
So he was like, how am I supposed to afford all this if I haven't delivered, Imagine 1 month 1,000, 9 months 9,000 already, and haven't thought about delivery or any complications, so to speak. So he was like, money again, the dollar sign again, guys. So he said, okay, never mind. You leave that to me, I'll figure it out. You just concentrate on resting, getting your health, your body well. And I was like, okay. Cannot worry also. I also cannot worry. Cannot afford to worry. Too expensive to worry. I said, okay, you do your part, I do my part. So that's how we work together.
How was your emotion? Like, I mean, having been through like 2 miscarriages and all that, and now you have the 3rd one, preparing once again as a parent. How was that emotion that was going through your mind?
Actually, on the 3rd pregnancy, I was very calm and peaceful. But of course, rather my family members, the people around us was very anxious lah. So I remember my younger sis actually literally called my mom and say, you don't call sis out, huh? You don't ask her to go here, go there, okay? Whatever thing you need, you just call me, don't call her. Let her rest at home, that kind of thing. So that was the thing lah. So, and by then my sis already had two children, so they will bring their children to come and visit me as and when. So because I try to like sort of bed rest at home, so yeah, then I play with the children. Then they were like, "Hey, you don't play with the children, you don't squat, you don't bend, like you just sit down there, can already." Then I was like, "Huh, whole day already at home, don't walk, don't move." It's like cannot leh. So that was the thing. So they were very anxious, but I was
Welcome.
Yep. But I was also thankful because along the journey I actually accepted Christ. So that's where I felt peace lah. I felt peace, and I know that God is with me in that sense.
I'm just curious, right? You know, both your pregnancy was kind of terminated at week 21, 23 and all that. So just curiously, right, when the last pregnancy, when it hit that week, that 21 to 23 that week, was there a different emotion that fear would like come in again?
So what happened was I actually had a calendar mark, like 4, 8, 12, 16, that kind of countdown kind of thing. So I also text my husband, oh, this is coming to 20 weeks, you know, let's count down that we will, you know. So a bit stressful, but I try to make it casual, or, you know, that we will make it through this week, the kind of thing, like, you know, so it makes it more positive. Because the truth is we will sure think of it. He will sure know, I will sure know, we will sure know. So it's, instead of hiding out, we talk it out lah. So I text him and say, hey, okay, we will just pray that it will happen smoothly. And also it was, I think, during the Chinese New Year period, so a lot of people visiting all this, so it's like no time to think too much lah. Yeah, so you're busy visiting people, walking around, resting in between as well. Then time in that sense move faster lah. And also, yes, I was still looking at visiting my 2 gynaes in between. And that's where we know lah, so we know backup plans, who to look for, emergency, you know, stuff like that. So we know what to expect, but we are also hopeful in that sense. Yeah.
Wow.
And once you cross that into
So
25 weeks,
so it was never safe lah. So because yes, I was with high-risk gynae, I need to have what we call progesterone jabs. So in fact they were saying to jab till I think 30 or 31 week. I still have 1 last jab, so I still want to like 不要浪费, you know, don't waste it. So I must, you know, finish using it. So paid already ma, cannot
Very
return back.
expensive.
Yeah. So we still jab to the last, and that's where I think at about 34 or 33 that was the last jab. And at 35 week I deliver already. So in fact the gynae told us 32 onwards the baby is viable already. So but it may mean some premature, but having said so, at least it's viable lah. So that's where I remember at the 32 weeks then we go and buy, you know, baby items, baby, you know, whatever. And yeah, my husband was complaining obviously because 2 pregnant lady going out to buy, and so he's the one carrying all the stuff.
Oh, your sister as well?
Yep, so she was pregnant back then also. So I was due to deliver in June, she's due to deliver in November.
right?
So obviously the 2 like tai like that, we go, oh, we need to buy this, you need to buy this. Then he was like, oh, I need to pay money, I need to carry. Can I call
Drive
these 2?
everyone around.
Yeah, and you're done. Okay, let's go for tea. Then she was like,
I want to go home, right?
I with all this. Then after we went for tea, we said, haven't buy pram. Then he was like, huh? Still need to buy pram? So because I think we were at the Changi Expo, so we bought, then we say don't have pram. So we go Kaki Phuket, which is by right near
Yes.
to buy pram. So he was like, still need to go? I said, yeah, still need to go. Then, you know, let's go after we have our tea break. Then he was like, so yeah, so that was the moment.
That's the role of father to be, right?
Yeah, the pay money, carry stuff, that kind of thing. But yeah, he just went along. And we were thankful we did that. Because at 35 weeks, 3 weeks later, I deliver. So I deliver naturally. 2 days later, I discharged and came back. So you can imagine you come back to a baby room with full of things on the floor. Yeah. So my parents came in, stepped in again to say, hey, you need help? I said, yes. So I was just sitting like directing like that, art directing, you know. Okay, this one open, keep this cupboard. This one open, put there. This one put here, that kind of thing. So that's where they help. They help step up to, you know, really pack my room lah,
So
to
nothing
be
was-
ready for it.
Nothing was ever thrown.
No. We keep
Wow.
everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was it? I mean, since the first till the...
That was 2011. When I deliver, my boy is 2015, so 4 years later.
4 years.
4 years later.
Yeah. We have an extra room lah. So at first it was baby room, become like macam store room, macam like garbage room, then transform to baby room again, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Tell us, how did you? I mean, Titus, now that he was born, what did you do to prepare for him now that he's born? I think it's a moment of celebration. It's a very big moment for the whole family, not just only yourself and your husband, the whole family. What was that? What did you give to Titus? The very first gift.
So of course I bought this way before he was born. It was a sheep lah, because he was born in the year of sheep. So we thought,
So cute.
yeah. So we
Is
thought
it a
it's
hand
some.
puppet?
Don't
No.
touch. It's on Titus.
He didn't know I bring it here
Yeah,
today.
fine.
Never mind.
He's
So yeah, we
Cho-Cho.
thought something. Yeah, that's the idea, to introduce him to him, the Cho-Cho. So that was the thing. Then we thought, okay, that's something that he might probably like lah, despite we don't know he like or not. So it's like must like lah. That's the one thing you must like. So that's the thing that we intro to him. But having said so, it's also I thought when I deliver him I will cry, but actually I didn't. So that was what I thought. And instead I told my husband, congratulations, now you're officially a father. So I can still remember his expression. He was like, like people see some animal or whatever, like in the fish tank kind or what, then he was just staring at the child there, the baby. I was like, you just carry lah, what are you looking at? It's your child now, you carry. Then he was like, I think a bit too fragile. I said, that's it, it's here already, you have to train, no time to, talk about, think about, you just have to do it lah. Yeah, so he
Right.
said, should I ask the nurse? I said, no need to call the nurse, you just carry. Yeah, so that was the thing. Yeah.
So
That's
small,
nice.
so precious. Can you imagine?
Yep.
I think that's where being fathers, that moment of pride, that moment of fear as well. I mean, because the child has always been with you, right? But they've never been with the father, and I would imagine that is the first experience of I am a parent. You already are a parent at the time where but
So how did how did you and Wayne, when you had your first child, like when your wife passed you that small little baby, how
she cannot
how
pass
do you
lah.
feel?
She's there already. I don't think she will pass to me.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Like
nurse-
like let's say
Go
your
and try lah.
no, it's okay. No, but how? From a father's perspective, how was that feeling? Like when you carry your first child.
Obviously, I can understand about the looking at the child, trying to see whether resemblance there, look like mother, look like father, right? But picking up the child first time, of course, it's a wonderful feeling, yeah, because it's miracle of life, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful feeling, and of course I have two children. So the first one is the more less practice, no practice before, so didn't know how to. But second time round it's easier, yeah. And that's my memories.
Well,
Daryl?
you can see from the comments. My wife.
What the
is-
comments
What's the
said?
comment?
on the- yeah. But the comment
Daryl was
was
very scared.
I was very scared. But the good thing was Natalie was a whopping 4 kilograms. So she was a bit of a monster. So that's okay. Could there be more? I'm not sure. Never seen.
Oh really? Huh?
Yeah.
What?
That's a
But okay.
check
But what's the
SOP.
purpose? How many fingers? How many toes?
Yes.
Oh, really?
I have
It's really
no
to
idea.
make sure you have 10.
Yeah, just to
nothing
make sure
more,
you have
nothing
10.
less.
Wow. Did you have the same
No, I
experience?
didn't have that.
Oh, you didn't have to
I
count?
think they just said normal, healthy baby. So
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe the nurse did the counting.
yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so carrying her for the first time, that feeling is very good. I think that feeling for your husband as well would be really that I'm in a new
Face.
phase of my life. This is all brand new.
But of course, I had training beforehand, so
You
went
had
for
training
those
beforehand?
classes, for
Oh,
parents.
okay.
So before you give birth and have the child, you are
I
prepared.
would
for-
always play with the dolls, like take the hand out, spin to the back, and turn the head.
That's how you do it. Person. Have you heard or come across other people with the same situation who have really not been able to cope, and how did you help them?
Obviously, yes, I heard stories whereby their family wasn't so supportive, they didn't even want to talk about it. So it makes the wife, especially the mom, very very sad, very hard to move on in that sense. So it's
Yeah.
also, their way and how you deal with it, their responses affected them as well.
Yes.
So of course they reach out to me also because I wrote my books. So they reach out to me as well to share about their journey. So again, because you can't really choose who are your parents or whatever, but you can still choose who are your friends. You can
Yes.
choose who to talk to, who to reach out to. So that's where, of course, if you can't find support here, you find support elsewhere lah. Yeah, that's where I realized as ladies or women, we generally like to talk. So that's where through forum portals, all these through books, they reach out to me, and that's where I meet them one-on-one to really share on their journey and to help them on how to cope with grief and also moving forward.
Yeah. So we're just going to show everyone the books you've
So,
written. Maybe
yeah.
you'd like to
Maybe
share
you
with
tell
us.
what are these 3 books? Yeah.
Sure. So this is the first book, To Baby with Love. That was, of course, the very first one with a lot of raw emotions and IVF journey, IUI journey. And then subsequently, this is the one with the twins. Okay, that's where, of course, with other people's story as well, and also with some professional advice on how to cope with grief, how to move on, how to even exercise, lose weight, to get back to health, to shape again. And then this is my rainbow baby. So this is actually him, Titus.
Oh.
Yep. So we had him on this, on the rainbow.
But that's not the
concept
Chocho.
as well.
That's a different
No,
toy.
no, that's the
Different
prop.
cho-
That's the
that's the
prop.
prop.
Yep. So because of this, also sparked the rainbow theme for this photographer as well. Because there is really this terminology like as on rainbow, baby. Yeah. So she created this theme, and because of that, there has been mommy subsequently looking for her to do the rainbow theme.
Nice.
Yeah. And so this one
Lost
is a
that
book of
fast.
hope lah, because waiting 2 years and then to conceive naturally and thereafter delivering a baby boy is no easy lah, not easy way. But having said so, done that, did that lah. So to let people know there is still hope at the end of the day lah.
Tell us
How can I get these books?
You can buy online on my website www.artoflifecircle.com. Yeah, but the first book is already out of print. So I'm trying to do a sponsorship to do a bilingual version for the
Right.
first book. Yeah.
Tell us about
This
the
book is finished.
tell us about the role of this book when you wrote them in that period of time.
So how it came about was the first book, obviously my husband was telling me, his name is Dominic, so he said Dominic will always remain in our hearts. So I was thinking, what if I fall into dementia, memory limited, cannot remember how. And I was a trained graphic designer, I have printers, I know publisher. So what is stopping me to publish a book? So that's why I wrote. In fact, I wrote in 3 days, my first draft.
Wow.
And then I emailed my publisher on it, and he obviously got shocked lah.
Writing's a whole different ball game from
But I was like,
design and-
nothing to do ma.
Okay.
Too free, confinement, nothing to do, just
Right.
type,
So
type,
it was
type.
during your confinement time.
Yes.
Right.
So I just wrote, and then I emailed him the draft. So he got a shock. He was also father. So he said, okay, let's do it. So I gave myself even a time frame. I said 3 months down. I have to, print. Because by right, that was the EDD date. Yeah, very focused. So he said 3 months down in, I think 29 Feb, leap year, somehow,
Wow.
2012. The book has to be launched. That kind of thing. So so it was quite a
Gosh,
tight timeline. So but still we had the book, we published the book, and I wanted it to be an honor, the honor to credit to my boy back then. So that was the motivations to doing the book.
So that's for the first book.
Yep.
Then the second book, you were saying the second book also covers other stories, right?
Yes. So the second book was requested by my husband because he saw the closure from the first book. So he wanted me to write the second book to have that similar closure. So but in my mind I was thinking how to write the same old story and then same set ending, that kind of thing. So that's where I seek my publisher for advice, and that's where he suggested to say, okay, maybe you add some other resources, materials, and also from the feedback of what the people who read on my first book, what else can we add in to value add the readers in that sense lah. Yeah.
And I noticed that all the 3 miscarriages was boy.
Yes. All are
Dominic, and this is Elvis and Louis.
Yes.
Where did the names come from?
Good question. So I always wanted the name Dominic, despite I don't know why. So actually,
Titus.
as mentioned, I was a graphic designer, so I came upon this name on one of the name cards that I'm supposed to print, and I don't know why that name just stuck in me. So I told my husband, if we had a boy, this will be the name.
Dominic.
Right.
Yep. So he also like clueless, like why this name? But of course, subsequently when I Googled, it means belonging to God. But back then I wasn't a Christian yet. But I just know I wanted to name Dominic.
Then why Elvis and
Louis.
Louis?
Louis was the name that I was very sure. But it was subsequently when I knew that I had twins. In fact, we also suspected it was twins already lah. So because IVF, we do blood tests. So the usual reading, I think, was supposed to be 100 plus to be indicative that you are pregnant. So we have like close to 1,000. So of course we Google lah, Singaporeans go back only Google already. So we knew high chance is twins. So it's just a matter of 2 girls, 2 boys, or 1 girl, 1 boy.
Right.
So back then I was also pretty certain that I told my husband high chance is boy. So I only prep boys name, I never prep girl name. Yeah. So then I wanted something to rhyme lah. So that's where how to find a name to rhyme, and of course somehow don't know what concert Elvis Presley came into the picture. And then I was like, okay lah, this is it. Yeah.
Right.
And then Titus?
Titus was in a way God-given name because I was a Christian back then. I was reading the Bible, so yeah, God prompted me to read Titus.
Right.
So back then I was thinking, my husband is not Christian, how to name Titus? So also quite interestingly, then that's where my husband showed me the watch, Surveillance Titus,
Oh.
the TV commercial,
Okay.
Time is Love. He knew I loved that brand very much. Yep. So in fact, some of my close friends thought I named him Titus because of that watch. Because that was those era lah, secondary days,
okay,
those
okay,
era,
okay.
yeah, crazy about the Andy Lau commercial and the obviously Titus, that TV commercial, that era.
天长地久.
Yeah, so they thought I named him because of that. But anyway, it's a nice coincidence lah. So yeah,
So he was okay with the name.
yes.
Very interesting.
Rolex how? I'm just wondering.
Well, do we have any other comments or questions on Facebook?
Wait, let me see.
Well, we've got one from Jasmine. Thankful to the mothers like you who are willing to share. Back then, the support system was lacking. Didn't have friends who went through she didn't have friends who went through miscarriages. So the forums on the chats were actually not very useful lah, because everyone was about joy and successes. So talking about situations like that, fairly tough. Everyone really goes back into their own personal lives and they don't quite talk about it.
But I think like what Felicia said, right? I think miscarriage is not something that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like, you really have that loss. Then I think friends around us also say, don't go and ask her. So I think somehow by default, that topic was never discussed. I mean, it's the same as, let's say, for example, like we talk about divorce, right? I mean, nobody talks about it. So when people go through it, how you go and find for it, it's also you can't. So I think it's good now that, like people are more willing to talk about it right now. And like what Felicia have shared, right? Sometimes talking about it can really let you heal faster, right? Because acknowledging it. So like, when you had your last child, I was asking you whether when you hit the 21, 23 week, how did you feel? But I think because you and your husband went with the what we call 平常心, like, okay, we're just cool about it, deal with it, just be very mindful of what could potentially happen, and we just go through lah, rather than start worrying, because I think the more you worry, you're stressing yourself, right? So I think in a way it's good that parents like yourself are coming out to share more and say, look, I'm here to talk. If you need to, talk to me, or if you don't wish to, you can read my book, at least draw some, draw some pointers, draw some strength for the fact that there are people who are going through that and you are not alone.
Right.
Yeah.
So if there was an advice you could give to parents whom have gone through miscarriages and are trying or are no longer trying, what would you say to them?
I think at the end of the day, it's really what you want out of your life lah, and it has to be a decision that both you and your husband are okay with.
Mutually.
So yes, that's right. So that's where we also decided during the 3rd pregnancy, a lot of decisions we make and we agree together. So it's not a single person's idea or what. It's agreed upon on. So we don't want to argue later. You see, because of you lah, you did this, blah blah, or because I eat this, So there are times whereby I will text him, do you think I can drink lemon tea? That kind of thing, maybe half a cup. That kind of thing. Then my mom was like, drink lemon tea also must ask. I said, better ask, I'll wait later, So is that kind of thing. So it's like we just want to leave things to assume. and we don't want to lay blame later.
Mm.
So we agree upon, or even if I feel anxiety, that I think, do you think I should, visit a gynae? After I visit this gynae, do you think it's okay? Then he say, how do you feel? So I say, I think I'm okay. So if you think you're okay, you don't need to see, that kind of thing. So it's discussed upon on.
A lot of communications lah.
Yes. A lot of things is like we communicate, we think how we feel. You are okay, I'm okay. There's no area to doubt. Okay, we are both fine with it. Okay, then moved on. That kind of thing. So that we don't lay blame. So that's what we are very sure of. Because obviously, from the first miscarriage, people will ask, why you leave the decision to her husband? Will you blame him? That kind of thing. So I'm very sure that I left the decision to him. I trust that he made the best decision. That's it. So that's the thing. So we don't second guess later lah. Which obviously he did explain to me why he did that decision, and I respected him for it. Yeah.
Wow. There's so much planning and thinking to go through.
He's the more logical one.
The more logical one.
I think for me, from this whole conversation that I have, right, from what Felicia has shared, right, I think, when you look upon it, it's really also a lot about conversation, about having proper conversation with that person that you're sharing your life with.
Yes.
I mean, whatever has happened has really happened, right? But, you and this person is going to continue your life together, right? I mean, if that's the choice. So I think that conversation is very important. I mean, like you say, your mom...
Sharing of feelings.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, your mom says, small thing also must ask. But I think, like you say, it's that respect, right? You don't want to end up having doubts and having question and assumption that, I do this, my husband will understand. I mean, why, right? I mean, just having that little conversation is going to help rather than just assume.
Yeah. So you don't want to second guess again. Is it that cup of lemon tea that I drink just now, then my sugar spike, or did that trigger, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So all these things that you don't want to self-doubt yourself, and likewise also blame the other partner as well. So that's what we are sure so we know how to move on in that sense, and also we also know we want to make or break really. So we know it's a decision that we both agree upon.
True.
Thank you.
Well, this thought just came to my mind that 40 over years minus 2 days ago, a boy was born. His name is Wayne.
Minus 2 days, no, not minus 2 days ago.
Minus 2 days ago.
Coming up.
Coming up.
Coming
Akan
up.
datang.
Okay.
Not yet.
I'm also a sheep baby. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Do you still have your sheep at home?
No, I don't.
Anyway, there's a question from Jasmine.
Oh, okay.
Does
Where?
Titus know about all his brothers?
Yes.
Will you share with it?
Yeah.
So he
How
know,
do
he
you
does
We
know.
are very sure to share with him.
How
The
did you
question
share
is
the
just
story?
when.
Right.
So my husband wanted to share with him later stage. I wanted to share with him earlier stage. So the question is just when that we
Right.
have dispute on. So because I think a few months back I did a show on Channel 8. So actually he saw it lah. So actually he wanted to watch Star Wars. He don't want to watch the show. But because it's a Chinese show, so my in-laws want to watch the show. So he like bo pian lah, he saw it. So because he has to watch, so I have to obviously accompany
Explain.
him to watch lah, just in case he had questions. So obviously he don't know what's the term called liu tan or what does it means. So I have to explain to him, and he was like, "Can you explain it to me now?" I was like, "Can I talk to you after the show?" I said, "No, why can't you tell me now?" So that was the thing. So that's how he got to know. So upon realizing it, actually he was very sweet. So he actually hugged me. So he said he was very sad that he had lost 3 brothers, but he was also sad that because then end up he got no siblings to play with. So that was the thing. So I was like, oh my gosh, then cannot cry. Then I was like holding back tears. So I said, okay, I arrange more play dates. So that's the only thing I can blurt out in that moment. So I said, okay, I arrange more play dates for you. Yeah.
Any plans for more children?
I would hope so, but having said so, my husband is like chill about it. He's like, I'm happy with one, okay. So we'll see how it goes.
顺其自然啦.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens, right?
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thank
Wow.
you very much, Felicia, and congratulations to Titus.
Yes.
And until now, we haven't heard your husband's name.
Lining.
Lining.
Yep.
Well, I must say he's a very strong man who has gone through all of this as
Very
well.
supportive.
Yeah,
Mm.
and,
Yes.
and being a guy, I don't know whether we do have feelings. We are not that systematic after all, and I do feel for Lining as well, because I think as much as you're emotionally engaged, as much as you're emotionally invested, the fact that we keep quiet does not mean we feel nothing.
Yes, of
It's
course.
just that it is taught in there a lot more, I feel, and he's a blessed. All of you are blessed.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Felicia.
So, do we have any, Felicia, do you have any last thing to want to share with our Facebook friends? I mean, we know that, okay, if anyone wants to reach out to Felicia, or if you're going through certain issues, you would like to, maybe reach out to Felicia for some support and some encouragement, like our Facebook page. I mean, you can find Felicia here, or you can connect with her via Facebook. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you. And if you'd like to buy her book, yes, what is the link again? www.artoflifecircle.com. All right, you can find her there, or you can always just connect with any one of us, and we'll be more than happy to connect you to Felicia to let you find out more on how can you embark on your own healing process if you are somehow in the same situation as what Felicia has gone through.
We will leave a link also on the Facebook page.
Oh,
So
yes,
those of
yes,
you who
we
wish to, please go ahead, click on that link and support Felicia in reprinting that first book, because no one's getting it anymore.
Yeah, this is the last book here. This last one.
The
Okay.
very last one, yeah.
Yes.
The Two Baby We Love. This is the very first one. I think this will be really very powerful, because this really truly charted, map our journey, what she has gone through for her very first pregnancy. Right. So yes, so support her so that she can get it reprinted.
Yes, thank you.
So closing off today's session, our most favorite thing to do.
Yes.
So if there was one word that could describe this whole experience for you, what would that be? So I'll ask everyone that question as
Yeah.
well.
No, the one word is for this session or for her journey? Her
Well, that's
How
overall
we
journey.
feel right now, I guess.
Oh, right now,
How do you
right
feel
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the one word is actually hope. Yeah, to know that there's still hope at the end of the day. And of course, the third book, which is A Gift from Heaven, to know that, yeah, there's really hope lah, moving forward as well. You just that you have to work towards to, and obviously lah, for some people it doesn't come easy. Yeah, it doesn't come naturally, but there is really hope still at the end of the day. Yeah.
Me first. I think the one word for me is based on this episode is, I will say inspired. Okay, inspired not because not inspired to be a mother. Inspired is because I feel that what Felicia said. I hope that it will inspire those who have gone through this unfortunate path, that nothing is lost. I mean, as long as you stay positive, your hope is still there. You will be able to probably have your own journey and your own family in the time to come.
Wayne?
Blessed. Blessed that everyone has their own stories and are able to share, now that we have a lot of different platforms to share. Instead of just writing books, we're able to do sessions like this, and have people like yourself come and share your stories with everyone. And I think everyone should be thankful that they're all blessed in different ways.
If I could have written down, because I said I would say blessed as well, actually.
No wonder you're looking at
Yeah,
me
I was like shocked. I was like, why you say blessed? Oh my gosh. But my blessed actually is more of blessings, that I think every one of us is blessed, and to receive all sorts of different situations in our lives. These are opportunities for us to learn and to become better version of ourselves, to become better parents. I'm quite sure Titus has gained himself a much better set of parents, right?
Yes.
Someone who loves him probably 3 times more, 4 times more than he would if he was the firstborn, maybe. So I guess all of us are blessed to live. So thank you very much, Felicia, for sharing
Thank you.
with us.
Thanks.
Thank you, and
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
So to
everyone.
all our friends who was watching us and supporting us for the last 1 hour, all right, so thank you once again, and as what I've said earlier, this is part of a whole series of Facebook Live that we are preparing for you to lead up to the Design Thinking Conference Asia Singapore 2022. So in April next year, Design Thinkers Academy will be bringing to you the Design Thinking Conference, right? First in Asia. So follow us on our Facebook page or our other socials, and we keep up to date on what is going to be happening in this 2 days event that's going to be taking place right here in Singapore in April. Fingers are all crossed that by then things will be definitely a lot more open up, and we can have our visitors from overseas to join us for this conference, and of course our own local audience here right in Singapore. All right, so thank you once again to Felicia. Thank you so much. And you know, yes, to Wayne and no, to Daryl and to Wayne. See, notice that there's a blue team, there's a red team.
Thanks everyone
so thank you
for watching
everyone.
us.
Bye.
Thank you.